Abraham's story begins with something incredibly simple yet deeply challenging, a call to step into the unknown. He wasn't given a detailed plan, a timeline, or a list of guarantees. He was simply told to go, to move, to leave what was familiar and trust that there was something better ahead. That might sound distant or overly spiritual at first, but when we bring it into modern terms, it's surprisingly relatable. Many people in the United States today have faced moments when they had to make major decisions without having everything figured out. Whether it's moving to a new city, starting a business, walking away from a toxic environment, or beginning a path that felt uncertain, these turning points often shape the entire direction of life. Abraham teaches us that waiting for perfect clarity before taking action is one of the biggest barriers to growth. His wealth didn't start with wealth, it started with willingness. And that lesson still matters today because sometimes the greatest opportunities show up disguised as uncomfortable instructions. When Abraham stepped out of his comfort zone, he tapped into something powerful, purpose. Purpose doesn't always look glamorous at first. For Abraham, it began with travel, sacrifice, and separation. He had to leave behind his old world and step into a new environment where he didn't yet have roots. Modern life mirrors that in many ways. When people pursue purpose today, it often requires letting go of the familiar parts of life that feel safe. That could be friendships that no longer align, habits that hold someone back, or opportunities that feel easy but aren't meaningful. Purpose is rarely convenient, but it is always transformational. Abraham pursued a calling instead of a calculation, and that foundation shaped everything that came after. As his journey continued, Abraham demonstrated something that often gets overlooked: obedience even when things made no sense. Obedience in this context isn't about blind submission. It's about alignment with a vision bigger than yourself. Abraham acted on instructions that didn't match his circumstances. He made decisions that others probably questioned. In today's world, this kind of obedience might look like investing in a dream when the timing feels bad, or taking steps toward a future that seems too big. Many people never reach the blessings waiting for them because they pause at the edge of discomfort. Abraham stepped forward anyway. His obedience created opportunities he could have never created by logic alone. This kind of obedience also challenges the cultural belief that success must always come from a perfectly calculated plan. Abraham didn't have spreadsheets or market analysis. He had trust. Trust that something beyond his understanding was guiding him. Trust that he wasn't walking alone. Trust that what he was building would matter. For a modern audience, trust shows up as resilience. It's choosing to continue even when you don't see results yet. It's trusting your preparation when anxiety tries to choke your dreams. It's believing there's a way forward even when your environment hasn't caught up with your vision. Abraham's story shows that obedience and trust work together to unlock prosperity. Despite obedience, Abraham's journey was far from instant wealth. He went through seasons of famine, conflict, confusion, and long waits. This teaches one of the most important principles of his success: the ability to play the long game. Today, people often want wealth quickly, whether through viral fame, rapid business success, or sudden opportunities. But Abraham's prosperity grew gradually, layer by layer. The Bible describes his wealth increasing over time, not overnight. This slow growth is powerful because it creates stability. Abraham wasn't just rich, he was rooted. His wealth wasn't fragile. It was built through endurance, patience, and the ability to remain faithful through slow seasons. Patience is a quiet kind of strength. It doesn't look impressive on the outside, but it's essential for real success. Waiting teaches discipline, it teaches gratitude, it teaches perspective. Abraham waited for years to see some of God's promises unfold, and while he waited, he learned how to handle blessing responsibly. In today's world, people who build wealth slowly often develop better habits and stronger foundations than those who get it instantly. Abraham shows that waiting is not a sign of delay, it's a sign of development. Patience also makes space for character to grow. Abraham didn't allow frustration to turn him bitter or hopeless. He continued to build, plant, negotiate, and move forward. This mindset reflects something many Americans understand from experience. Success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. A healthy mindset, grounded confidence, and stable emotions are all part of sustainable prosperity. Without these, wealth can become a burden instead of a blessing. Abraham's patience shaped him into a man who could manage abundance without being destroyed by it. One of the most striking parts of Abraham's character is his generosity. He gave freely and openly. He didn't treat wealth as something he needed to hoard or protect from everyone around him. Instead, he treated it as a tool, something he could use to bless others, create stability, and honor God. Generosity didn't make him weaker, it made him stronger. It built alliances, opened doors, and kept his heart healthy. He lived from a place of abundance before he ever saw abundance in his hands. In modern life, generosity plays a similar role. People who give are often healthier emotionally. They build stronger networks. They live with a sense of purpose because they're connected to something bigger than themselves. Generosity doesn't just release resources to others. It releases fear from within. It teaches confidence. It reminds you that you're not dependent on circumstances alone. Abraham lived with open hands, and because of that posture, he never lived in scarcity. His wealth didn't control him, he controlled it. His generosity also teaches that wealth isn't purely financial. Wealth includes peace, relationships, opportunities, and influence. People often measure success only by numbers in bank accounts, but Abraham's life shows a broader definition. He was wealthy because he had a great name, because he carried authority, because people respected him, and because he had favor wherever he went. Those qualities were strengthened by his generosity. Generosity creates space for people to grow closer to one another, and Abraham used it to build a life of abundance on every level. Another powerful element of Abraham's life is the way he valued relationships. He didn't let disagreements escalate into unnecessary wars. He didn't destroy his family over land or wealth. When conflict arose with his nephew Lot, Abraham took the high road. He allowed Lot to choose the best land, even though by social custom Abraham had the right to choose first. This wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. He understood that relationships are more valuable than temporary resources. Because of his integrity, Abraham kept peace, avoided unnecessary battles, and strengthened his reputation as a man of honor. In the modern world, the importance of relationships is often underestimated. People rush so hard toward success that they burn bridges, isolate themselves, or treat others as competitors. But Abraham shows that wealth grows best in the soil of healthy relationships. Strong partnerships can open doors that money cannot. Kindness can create opportunities that hustle alone will never reach. Respect builds long-term trust. Abraham's wealth and influence were reinforced because he handled relationships with maturity. He demonstrated that a peaceful heart often leads to a prosperous life. His relational wisdom also helped him build alliances. Throughout his journey, Abraham formed meaningful connections with leaders, tribes, and communities. These alliances provided protection, cooperation, and stability. They strengthened his influence across regions. In modern terms, these alliances look like networking, collaboration, community building, mentorship, and mutual support. No one becomes successful alone. Abraham's life highlights the power of unity and the impact of surrounding yourself with the right people. Prosperity grows when you're aligned with others who share your values and vision. Beyond his relationships with people, Abraham had a strong internal relationship with hope. Hope shaped his decisions, it shaped his attitude, it shaped his future. Long before the wealth arrived, Abraham believed something good was coming. He wasn't naive, he was expectant. This kind of belief doesn't ignore reality. It rises above it. It gives someone the confidence to take action when life doesn't yet reflect what they're aiming for. Belief was the fuel behind Abraham's obedience, generosity, and patience. It allowed him to see possibility where others saw limitation. In today's culture, belief is often overshadowed by fear, doubt, or the pressure to appear realistic. But belief is a powerful force. Many successful people begin their journey with nothing but a vision and faith that they can achieve it. Abraham embodied this mindset deeply. He carried himself like someone who expected blessings. He acted like someone who knew good things were ahead. His belief shaped his behavior, and his behavior shaped his opportunities. When people believe in the possibility of abundance, they make decisions that move them toward it. When they believe life is limited, they protect themselves instead of expanding. This belief also helped Abraham overcome fear. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles to success in any era. It stops creativity, stalls progress, and keeps people trapped in cycles of survival rather than growth. Abraham faced fear many times, but he consistently chose belief over fear. That didn't mean he never felt anxious or uncertain. It means he didn't let those emotions dictate his actions. Modern audiences can relate deeply to this tension. Life is filled with unknowns, financial instability, career changes, relationship transitions, health challenges. Belief doesn't eliminate these realities, but it empowers people to move forward despite them. Another core aspect of Abraham's story is that he lived with a mindset of abundance long before he lived with visible abundance. His choices reflected someone who expected growth, expansion, and blessing. When he settled in new lands, he built altars. When he traveled, he took everything with him because he assumed he would need it for the future. He negotiated boldly. He treated others with dignity. He made plans that aligned with a vision bigger than his current resources. This mindset is incredibly relevant today. People who expect abundance attract opportunities, connections, and ideas that align with that expectation. It's not magic, it's psychology. A confident mindset shapes decisions, and decisions shape outcomes. Throughout his journey, Abraham never allowed wealth to define his identity. He remained grounded, humble, and connected to his purpose. He didn't chase money, money followed him. This principle challenges the modern assumption that chasing wealth is the path to fulfillment. Abraham shows the opposite. Fulfillment and purpose create an environment where wealth can grow naturally. When someone knows who they are, what they stand for, and what they're called to do, their success becomes stable and meaningful. Abraham stayed anchored in faith, purpose, and integrity. That foundation protected him from the destructive side of wealth. His humility is seen in the way he treated strangers. He welcomed visitors, shared food, offered water, and extended hospitality. This wasn't just kindness, it was culture. Hospitality was part of who he was, and those interactions shaped his legacy. Some of the greatest turning points in Abraham's story came through encounters with people he welcomed. Likewise, in everyday life today, small acts of kindness can create major breakthroughs. A single conversation, a single connection, or a single moment of generosity can change the trajectory of someone's life. Abraham lived with the awareness that people matter, and that awareness helped shape his prosperity. Abraham's journey also teaches resilience. He experienced droughts, battles, misunderstandings, and setbacks. But he never let a temporary circumstance define his long-term destiny. Resilience is the ability to keep going when everything around you suggests giving up. It is one of the most important qualities in building wealth, dreams, businesses, families, and personal growth. Abraham's resilience kept him moving forward even when the road was long. In today's world, resilience separates those who dream from those who finish. Life will always bring challenges, but resilience transforms challenges into stepping stones. Another remarkable part of Abraham's life is that he believed in promises that seemed impossible. He believed he would become a father when his age suggested otherwise. He believed his descendants would be numerous even when he had no child. He believed in land ownership before he had any permanent territory. This shows the power of vision. Vision is the ability to see what isn't visible yet. It is the spark that ignites progress. People who carry vision invest differently, speak differently, and move differently. Abraham lived by vision, and that vision shaped reality. At the core of everything, Abraham's wealth and success flowed from alignment with God. This alignment wasn't based on rituals or pressure. It was formed through relationship. He talked to God, he listened, he questioned, he trusted. This illustrated a profound principle. Spiritual alignment fuels natural success. When inner life is healthy, outer life begins to reflect that wholeness. When values are clear, decisions are clearer. When purpose is strong, distractions lose power. Abraham lived from a centered, grounded, spiritually connected place, and that connection influenced every area of his life. His story closes with the truth that abundance is not accidental. It is formed through direction, obedience, patience, generosity, relational wisdom, belief, resilience, and a grounded identity. Abraham became extremely rich not by chasing riches, but by living according to principles that naturally produced them. His life invites all of us to see success differently, not as something we must force, but as something we cultivate from the inside out. When purpose, character, faith, and generosity shape someone's life, prosperity becomes a byproduct rather than a goal. Abraham's journey reminds us that abundance is possible, but it is built through a life aligned with vision, trust, and integrity.